Finally getting some winter up here in northern Alberta. Anyhow, this combine is all together and it's in the lineup to get in the shop for a inspection and hopefully get the repairs done this winter and get it ready to roll for next year. So just wanted to go over a few things, what to look for when you're going through a combine. So this one here has twice the hours of that one that's parked outside. I think it's about 2,300 thrashing hours, and the other one only has about 1,350. So on the tailboard, we noticed this motor was leaking. So you can see the residue as the hydraulic oil is coming out of it. And then this is the hydraulic motor. So we ended up finding some filings in the oil. And this thing was just about ready to blow right apart. So it was fortunate that we shut down when we did. So we're pretty sure that that's where the filings come from in the hydraulic oil filter. Not always good to see that, but at least when you can find a source, it helps. So this one had obviously got welded at some point in its life, and it just wasn't an overly good job. So I'm gonna weld that up. And then John Deere couldn't supply any hydraulic motors at the time, so I ended up talking to a wrecker, and there was a burnt combine in there, and got him to ship me up 2 hydraulic motors. So I ripped the tailboard all apart. There's the spinners. And then we're gonna replace the bearings when we put it back up, of course. And then we've got a little bit of work to do with the fingers to make sure it's not vibrating. And then I didn't show it, but on this combine, this was the one that I had a small fire. The inner bearing went on this rear jack shaft assembly. And as soon as that inner one went, then the outer one went. And caught it right away, so it didn't even burn the hydraulic lines. You can see on some of that loom up there on that electrical harness, and it just started to melt that, but all the wiring was fine and everything. So we replaced this, I don't know, a week or 2 ago. Put all new belts on it, new bearings. Had to put the new shaft in there. I think just that shaft in that jack shaft assembly is like $2,000 from John Deere or something. But anyhow, got that all fixed up. And then, like I said, we were going through the inspection, and it was a Prairie Coast mechanic. He noticed that there was oil. So that's your engine, and then this is the flywheel, and this is the main gear case, like with the hydraulic pump. So we had to take the main drive belt off, that's that, and then separated this. So one of my buddies he's a Brandt mechanic, and he wanted to come and help me with this, so I said sure. So what happens is there's an engine seal around there, and then this is the gear case, and there's a seal behind that plate. But there's also right there where my tip of my finger is, there's a plug that goes in there. And so I took this all off the Prairie Coast mechanics coming back tomorrow, and he said what happens is that can leak, and then there's the coupler that goes between here and there and attaches to the flywheel, and I'll show you that. And if that coupler gets oil in it, it can deteriorate the rubber, and then it'll basically like spin in itself, and then you won't have any drive to your hydraulic component, which runs the whole combine essentially. So this is booked out from John Deere as a huge job, and my buddy, he's a good mechanic, and so he would just give me jobs to wrench and like take the belt off and do whatever he told me to do. And it took me and him 6 hours to get this all disassembled. Which if I had done it by myself, I'm sure it would have took me 9 or 10. But yeah, make sure if you guys do attempt to do that, that you swing your auger out And then I took off that whole bar, the curtain, and I took off both curtains, like the side panels on the combine. And it just makes it easier. You have to take the rear one off, but it just makes it easier when the front one is off too, because we had to disassemble that just so that we could get this right here. Was a problem to get it away, to get it far enough. And I'll just climb up on top. We got the shoe and the sieve out, just inspecting them. So some people say it's easier to take the engine out, but I think if you slide the engine this way, I'm not sure if you have to move the rad or how much you have to disassemble on that side. But so this is that coupler that goes in between that shaft and then hooks to the engine, and it's this rubber. I'm not sure how much this piece is. I think it's over $1,000. And it looks completely fine. So hopefully we can reuse that. These bolts are the ones that go into the, I guess it would be the crank. I think that's what, I didn't realize my video had got cut off, so I'm splicing it together. I was just saying with these bolts, they're a single use bolt when you torque them up. So I talked to the mechanic, and he of course is gonna bring a new set. Oh, and that is one thing that I did forget. Down in that flywheel, there's a bearing, and that bearing feels stiff. It's rough. And so that would be the next thing that would cause me grief. So that bearing is going to get changed. The seal is going to get changed. We'll pop that plug out, and it'll get re-Loctited, and then we'll do the seal in that gear case while we have everything apart, because it's such a big job to split this all. But yeah, happy with the gantry. That was in one of my other videos. I built it so that it would come over top of a combine and then just go underneath my ceiling fans, and it just does the job. So it's too bad that I didn't have a taller ceiling in this shop, but work with what you got. And it sure is nice to be able to rip this all apart inside. The one other thing to keep an eye out for, I had to repair the other combine, and again, it only has that 1,350 thrashing hours. But this one here, right below this upright here, right here, can you see that? There's a crack, and it's in the same place as the other combine, so it's just a weak spot. So keep an eye out for that, and then you can grind that off, and then I just stitch welded the other one. And so as long as it's holding up, then it's all good. Oh, and then down here, I think on one of these augers, we have to replace one of the bearings that the mechanic noticed. So that wasn't bad. Other than that, oh, we do have to replace the clean grain feeder chain there, or elevator chain. So that's a little bit more expensive. On the other combine, so he rips this all apart, and then he kind of inspects the feeder chain like link by link, because if you ever had one of these blow apart, it isn't good. If you ever had one of these slats come off and go through your combine, it can cause you a lot of damage. And then he's of course checking the cogs on these sprockets. So I think we still have some life left here in the feeder house. And then on that other combine, there's the floor, feeder house floor here. And you can replace, and we had to replace it on the other one. It's a high wear steel, and I think that it's $2,000 or just over, and it's pretty heavy. But there was lots of wear on that other one, so that's usually more common if you're in real light crops, and if your chain is always dragging on the bottom without crop underneath of it, you'll see a lot more than you'll be steel on steel kind of thing. So other than that, I think most of it looked not too bad on this side. What else can I tell you? It does look a lot different with the side shields off it, and it's good for me just to see how everything works, to kind of get that overview picture of everything. And then yeah, hopefully we can get it all put back together tomorrow. I'm sure it'll go a little bit slower putting it back together than it did taking it apart. So take our time, and if I have anything to add or that I think I forgot, I'll add it in another video and keep you posted on how putting it back together went. And then, like I said, just to figuring out all the vibrations with this combine, I had changed the feeder house belt when I first got it, because there was a vibration in this combine, and it did help like a lot. So I know that was part of the problem, and it seems like there's still a little bit something that I don't like that we still got to find. So that's why I think we're going to change that rear U-joint. That could be a little bit of the problem. It's definitely not shot by any means, but while we have everything apart, I'm sure that U-joint's probably 60, 70 bucks. So we might as well change it before we put everything back together. And then noticing the condition of this rear tailboard, especially with the welding that had gone on here, we did notice that one of the fingers in the spinners was missing. And so all that can contribute to a little vibration as well. So we should have this thing pretty cleaned up by the end of this year, because it's definitely going to be a lot of money going into this machine. But if you don't do it, it can just continue to fly right apart on you. So all of the chopper knives had got changed before it had come to me. So I'm pretty sure they were kind of hunting for a vibration in this thing too, and just couldn't quite get it nailed down. So it's good to see that they did put some money into it. And then, like I said, I'm putting a whole bunch more into it, but that's the price you pay with these higher houred machines. So anyhow, okay, have a good day, and we'll catch up with you later. Take care.